Welcome to the Pricing for Photographers YouTube channel. And I have my good friend, JCristina, longtime friend, I should say at this point. We've known each other quite a while now. It seems like we just met, but we've known each other, wow.
I would say 7, 8 years, yes. Maybe 9. Yeah, it's been
absolutely
quite some time.
And we are talking about today the concept of when people don't want to pay. They maybe traditionally have the budget, or they know what it really costs, but they make decisions not to pay maybe the professional rate, or just change, or just not want to pay. Let's get into that. Let's get into that conversation. It's a deep conversation, and it comes at us from many different directions.
Yeah, absolutely. I call it like, the way I look at it, Rosh, it's that good enough mental that we're in right now. And that stems, from literally every walk. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're a content creator, if you're a photographer, if you're, a videographer, an illustrator, I don't care what you do, someplace in the creative industry and even outside, it's the idea of good enough. It's the people are out there that will take their portrait that they'll go and use for their company, but they'll take it with the iPhone because they don't want to pay a professional to do it.
Right.
And that's where I think that we are at right now. And that's where we really need to kind of hone down on the pricing that we ask and kind of stick by it. Because if not, it's going to be, the first man to the lowest rung of the ladder, getting paid next to nothing, right?
Right. One of the things that I certainly do is when people say, okay, I give them a budget, sake of argument, $5,000. And they say, well, that's not our budget. We really have half that, $2,500. Well, I generally will start taking things away. Say, okay, we can do that, but we can't do these certain things. What is that value to you? And start having that conversation. And now you may not actually cut the production in half, but you got to pull stuff away. Otherwise, they're going to feel like they can just keep cutting your value in half and what you do and the value of your work in half.
Yeah, exponentially. So every time you do that, Rosh, you are lowering your value or your perceived value.
Right.
And you can command less and less and less and less from that specific client, right? So that is it's thin ice to walk on for sure.
Absolutely.
There's different ways to do it, of course. You have dollars for hours, you have piecemeal pricing, you have project pricing, or however you want to look at it. There's different ways to price things. For me, I think what I always do is I boil it always down to a dollars for hours type of mental. Whereas how much is my time worth to do X, Y, and Z, to take this portrait, to do this ad spot, to produce this content, to edit, whatever it is, how many hours is it going to take to produce? What is the equipment that I'm going to need to do it? And then I start that with an absolute baseline. And then I'll start looking at industry standards, what's going on currently. And then, like you said, it's a great idea is to, if the person can't afford not necessarily you, but the entire project, start whittling it down a little bit, not whittling down your cost. You are still the same, but the things that they're going to get, whereas it could be, well, maybe we can do X, Y, and Z, but maybe you have enough knowledge to do A, B, and C. And we kind of chop it down a little bit and put a little bit more into their court to be like, okay, yeah, you know what? I can do that promotional stuff myself on the side through social media, and I don't need you to do it also. This is going to cost me X, Y, and Z. So yeah, absolutely. By limiting some of that, you can still keep your value up without saying, I'm going to discount me. No, we're going to lessen or lower the project a little bit, expectations at least.
Sure. I have something to throw at you, and it's kind of a curveball, something we didn't talk about pre-show. Sure. And that is this concept that I've been sharing more and more, especially over the last year, is that competition is irrelevant anymore. And hear me out. The fact is there's so much competition out there. There are so many photographers. Everybody with a phone is potential competition. You could lose a job to, as you put it, somebody with a cell phone. And so the fact is the competition in terms of other photographers, look at other photographers as maybe inspiration, as a knowledge source, but don't look at them as competition, because you're the only one that has your eye, and you're the only one who's developed your brand as your reputation. So the only competitor is you. In
Absolutely.
developing your brand and going out and finding the right clients for you.
Exactly.
And don't worry about the person who's part-time taking pictures once in a while. You're not going to get their clients anyway,
Right.
because they have their circle. And
No,
so your
absolutely.
job is to go out, because quite honestly, people could say there's no reason to hire a photographer at all. I mean, but there is, of course, there are many good reasons, but you have to find your clients in your tribe. Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree 110%. You know, not all clients or for you are for you. You know, find the ones that are specific, you know, for you, and move on, and don't spend a lot of time with trying to get the clients that you know are just not going to be, you know, the perfect match for you. You know, you don't want to sit there and be that guy that bangs the square into the circle and just, I
yeah.
swear I can get it in. You know, it just doesn't
Or
work.
just worrying about other photographers and what they're doing. They're always going to be photographers who are less than you. But as I've often said to people, I've lost jobs to photographers who charge way more than I do,
Absolutely.
because they have a higher end brand, maybe a better, more prestige, maybe they have a better technique, whatever the reason was at the time. And I, of course, beat other people out for the exact same reasons who were less than I am. Or it was purely because of the relationship. I had a
Yep,
better
absolutely.
relationship with the client. I won the job. They had to bid it out, but ultimately that relationship won out. And so again, it's don't worry about what other people are doing. Competition is now irrelevant. Would you say that's an
Yeah.
extreme of that,
No,
or
I would have to, I mean, there is competition. I would
sure.
say it could be irrelevant. I mean, you are your own, you know, competition.
Right.
And, you know, instead of worrying about the next guy, you know, do your education, you know, continued education. As a photographer, we need to continuously grow, you know. The way I look at it is people buy people. People don't buy products. Okay. So, you know, what I mean by that is when you go and show yourself to someone and say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you, they're buying you. They're
Yeah.
not necessarily buying X, Y, and Z. And that's really, really important to keep in mind.
Especially in services.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They are going to buy the nicest guy. Let's say if you're a wedding photographer and let's say the bride is now interviewing 5 different photographers. You know, if she finds a photographer that really meshes with her idea or her mental or her way of life, even maybe she's vegan and you're vegan, chances are you're going to hit it off and you're going to be covering that wedding even if you have almost no experience. Whereas there's someone else where it's an older guy like me, you know, that might be maybe not so pleasing to see. They don't want to spend an entire day with you and you're not going to get the job. You know, simple as that.
Oh,
So
but you know, just to your point, if you know have a really good relationship in Click, they may be very willing to pay that additional $500 or $1,000 more just to have you, because there is a connection and that confidence, the confidence they feel about. Do you hear that in the background? The scraping?
just a little bit.
Yeah, those are the bunnies.
Oh, nice.
Yes. In the beginning of the year, my family decided that they would let me know that we're getting bunnies.
Oh,
So,
I had the same experience about 5 or 6 years ago. It was like, here they are. And what's that? So now I have one too. I don't know.
so
Uh,
anyway, back to
yeah.
the point. And I probably have totally lost it, but
No, that's all right. Let's sell the bunnies and then we can make the money. We have to shoot, you know, don't have to shoot anymore.
but somebody's listening right now. What was he gonna
Yeah,
say?
exactly.
No, no, but if you know you are people are willing to pay that little bit of extra for that connection, because you are taking away internally that risk that
Right.
they feel. I think the bunnies are cleaning the cage.
Good.
That they feel, and I'm going to move. um, that
That's
they
all right.
feel, because you know, hiring a photographer is a risk. And
Absolutely.
and when you can take more of that risk away from hiring you, then you know that comfort level goes up, and people are willing to pay a little bit more for that risk. That's a lot of times why people want to pay less, because if they're wrong, they're ultimately going to have to, you know, pay for that
No,
error.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It is that it is that connection, like you call it. It's very, very important. And that's why a lot of people are social these days. Everything is online, and this talking back and forth on text messaging and smiley faces and thumbs ups and all this stuff. And you do not get that connection, with the client as you do with an actual conversation. If I sit with a client for 5 minutes, I will sell them. Okay. Because for the most part, they like my personality, and I will be able to sell it to them, and they will hire me.
Right.
Now, through email, not so much. I'm not the best. I can orate pretty good when I'm, speak with them. It's not a problem. But typing and writing a message that's eloquent, let's just say I have much to be desired in that department. So, a lot of times I'll say, you know what, can we have a call? Can we get together for a Starbucks?
Right.
Because I know that if I do have that call, or if I do have that latte, I'm going to get the job.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
a lot of times that is very important too, is to remember that even though we live in this social era where everything is done ones and zeros, that handshake is worth 1,000 ones and zeros. It's so mission.
Excellent point.
Especially for creatives like ourselves. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like I said, if you're a photographer, an illustrator, a videographer, any type of creative, if you're selling something, a product, or even more importantly, yourself, no matter what, you're still selling yourself. And
you make a good point. You make an excellent point in the sense of, there are a lot of easy ways to communicate with people, again, through social, email, and so forth. And if you depend on that, you may be putting yourself more in the commodity market versus the relationship market.
The more the
commodity, commodity market, that's lowest price. Relationship market, that's relationships, but can command a higher price because you've developed your brand. Well put.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I've done over the years that, I don't know if anyone listening might find some use for it. But what I did is I found a lot of the nonprofits that were near me that I really liked what they were doing, like the American Heart Association, Cancer.org, Jewish Children and Family Services, CODA, all kinds of nonprofits. And what I've done is I feel the need to always give back. And I think it's a great way to give back to the community, right? Mm-hmm. So I shoot at Mar-a-Lago all the time for Donald Trump. This is before he was the president. Now it's hard to even get in there. I'm like 20 minutes down the road from him when he's here in Palm Beach. But anyways, so the idea of shooting sometimes for free will allow you to find the client that you want.
Right.
Now, let me kind of expand upon that. When I go and shoot, for example, American Heart Association, the people that are there are upper echelons, right? They're donors. They're giving a lot of money for the most part. Those are the people that I'm looking for to do portrait work, for doing, large scale events and this type of thing. So sometimes you have to almost get paid nothing. You get paid a lot. It's not necessarily like the bell curve. Sometimes it's linear. So it's getting to know the people that are around you, once again, shaking those hands, but also getting in front of the people that are the people that will pay you, so to speak, that will not just pay you, but respect what you do, appreciate what you do, and have that conversation, that one-on-one, and they'll eventually, hopefully, like you, and you'll end up with more work. But work with the appropriate people, the people that you're looking for, not the people that are trying to nickel and dime you to the bottom, but the ones that are appreciating what you're doing and that will give you what you're asking for.
Sure. One of the things that I do when I don't do as much charity today, but I certainly had in the past. And one thing that I will do is I will send them an invoice for the full amount. And then give them 100% discount, because the last thing I want these folks to feel is that, oh, you're the free photographer. Oh, you're the cheap photographer. Or you're the charity photographer. I want them to know that I'm a high-end photographer doing charity work. And especially in a situation like that, I think the clientele that you're talking about would appreciate seeing a really large amount of money being thrown at them with 100% discount, meaning, okay, we have a high-end photographer here. And I would, I'd consider bringing them into my event or my wedding or my corporation, because I know that they're the high-end photographer. I'm not even wondering anymore.
Yeah, I've done that since day one. That is absolutely mission critical. You have to put the full amount in there. Also, it's great for you at the end of the year, guys. At the end of the year, this is deductions that you can take because you are giving away to a charity a specific amount.
Yeah,
And of course,
well, that's something I haven't, I've heard, because it's a, arbitrary amount, you can't necessarily deduct, like, for example, if you were giving
there's a limited
$2,000 away.
amount. There's a
Yeah,
limited amount of
yeah,
deduction. But you
yeah.
do, I know you can deduct for
Sure. I'm
sure
sure
for
there's
charity.
something.
Because you're basically giving away, let's say,
Right.
$100 to a charity, but you're giving it to it in time. It doesn't matter. It is a
Right. Okay.
deduction.
Yeah.
But but
Yeah. All
regardless,
people
the
check
main
your
no,
account.
no, absolutely. The main meat and potatoes behind it, right, Rosh, is
Yeah.
that you're able to find the people that you're looking for. One of the other
Right.
things that I talk about a lot is divorcing clients. And
Yeah.
some people they don't understand how important this is, but it is mission critical these days to divorce the clients that are not your clients, the ones that are commanding the maximum amount of your time for the least amount of profit.
Right.
It's so critical because all that extra time that you are futzing around with these people that are making your life miserable, you could be putting it towards, right, clients that appreciate you, that are willing to pay you, and that are not nickel and diming you. And you have a really great symbiotic relationship instead of this one-way relationship with some of these clients that you really need to seek a lawyer for and divorce. So it's just, I mean, that's something that I've always done, and it really works out well to kind of bring you down to a manageable amount of clients that are actually paying you.
Yeah. A manageable, profitable amount of clients, as you said.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good point. So, hey, there are a few things that I want to talk to you about that are related to you that I think
Sure.
are important. One, I hear you have a growing, awesome, I watch it, of course, growing, awesome YouTube channel. Where would people find you there?
Yeah, on the YouTube, the channel is JCristina Photo, and that's Christina without an H, like the girl's name. So J, then Cristina Photo. Yeah, it's doing really, really well. I'm just amazed on how well. I was the co-host over at the Digital Photography
Yeah,
Cafe
absolutely.
for 6-7 years with Trevor Current.
Yep.
And we had just a blast doing it. And I'm starting to do my own thing with this channel. And I'm really amazed on, how it's going. I do tips, tricks, how-tos, reviews, commentary on the photo industry.
Yeah.
And everything about photo. That's basically my thing. But I'm also creative, right, Rosh? So I am a fine artist. I am a painter. I went to school for art. So I started out doing commercial art and advertising design and for magazines. That was my thing, cover work. So I get into some painting too in the channel and just talk about creative stuff. So it's my outlet. I absolutely love it.
Very good. And then also behind you, Focus Pyramid.
Oh,
Tell us
yes.
about that.
Yeah, so about 7-8 years ago, I invented a product called the Focus Pyramid and a bunch of other ones, PRT, photo reference tool, and whatnot. The Focus Pyramid is just one of those things that just went over really big. It was it was an item that I invented in my office by doing about 500 prototypes. And it was just a way of doing autofocus lens calibration. It was a means to an end. I had lenses that cost me $2,500, and I was taking pictures. I'd focus in on the eyes, and I would look on, a chimp on the back, and I'd be like, why are the eyelashes blurry, but the tip of the nose is sharp? What is this all about? I found out that all camera manufacturers put autofocus lens calibration or AF fine tuning built into the programming in the actual bodies of the camera. So figuring that out, I said, you know what? I'm going to put together a tool that will allow you to do this calibration. Once you do the calibration, as soon as you snap on the lens, now every time you take a picture, focus in on the eyelashes are sharp and not the tip of the nose or the back of the ear. So, you get this slight variance. Whenever you take a DSLR, you snap a lens to a body, there's a slight variance. And the companies all know it. So they allow you to do plus, minus to get that focus dead on every time. So I put together that tool. It's being sold internationally. Schools are using it. I just found out last night in Colombia. I'm like, what is that? But it's just, it's one of those things that have been, like I said, put it together 7, 8 years ago, I guess it is now, patented the whole 9 yards, and it's been, selling on B&H Photo, through my website, JCristina.com, on Amazon Prime, and just
Nice.
everywhere.
Good.
So I'm an inventor too, So
Yeah.
my mind
You
always
never
races.
stop. You're one of those, aren't
Something.
you?
It's the ADD kid, right? And if you have a kid that's like got a lot of that energy moving, for me, instead of giving them meds to get them to stop thinking and moving, for me, it was the ADD where there's constantly things going on. So I would write pads of stuff, of inventions, like
Yeah.
10, and I would be like, okay, this one I'm going to do, just going. So, but yeah, that's my sideline. That's the thing. I'm inventing a couple of products right now that would be going out probably in the next 6 months. But
Nice.
it takes a long time, let's just say,
Yeah.
from start to finish to get them out.
Yeah. Wow. So what else? Anything else you want to share that's been going on? As you put it, you're always developing something. Anything else?
Yeah, it's always, there's always something going on.
Yeah.
For me, it's a lot. That I've been doing now is with the channel, getting that.
What's your plan for the channel? What tell me about that? Obviously, having my own YouTube channel, I'm obviously always curious about how other people are approaching it. So
yeah, the way I approach the channel is I give back to the community everything that I have. Okay. Yeah. I do anything they want to know. I answer every single comment. There is tens of thousands probably in there as of by now. But I answer every single comment, and I always have that back and forth, that community. Mm-hmm. I develop the community so that obviously they can see the products that I sell. Yeah. Number one. Sure. I don't use it as a means of making money, but as a way of getting out there and having this, socializing time, let's just say, in a way for me to be out there and have this one-to-one with people. So I just have a lot of fun with it. I really do. I spend a lot of time in the channel developing. Just had a video, matter of fact, yesterday came live with Jimmy Denham. I don't know, I'm sure you've heard of him, landscape photographer. A lot of fun talking about his move from Canon to Sony.
Oh, yeah.
2 years now down the road. What does he think about it? So I do a lot of that. Right now, we know that mirrorless is the next thing. Right. It's for the last 4 years now. I've always said that pros are going to be all shooting mirrorless. Not that, not too distant of a future when finally we get a global shutter that's in there. But so I talk a lot about mirrorless. I talk a lot about, the how-to stuff aspect too. So it's just kind of all encompassing when it comes to photography. I'm sure you're doing the exact same thing over on your channel, and maybe we do some collabs, do some collaborations together.
Absolutely. Always looking forward to that. I mean, we've done that in the past. We've supported each other with our podcasts and, speaking events through the years. And, that's how you grow. That's one thing I have learned in the industry is, the more you work with your network. I mean, we both, know a number of people in the industry, and the more people we reach out to and work with, the better off we all are.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. That coming together, the meeting of the minds, I think is really amazing, because things that I won't think about, you'll think of, and vice versa. And being able to play things back and forth, I think is fantastic. What's even better is when we can do it in a model like this, which you just introduced me to, Zoom, which I think is cool. And to be able to have multiple people on board, let's say, and chat back and forth and have ideas playing back and forth. It's almost like a mastermind session.
Yeah, right. And, absolutely.
We all need that. We really do. There's, we're not like a one-man show floating on, on the sea in like our little rowboat,
Right. Well, but a lot of photographers are. Right. They're alone most of the time. Maybe they have an assistant, but most of the time they're working on their own, and being able to connect with people is really important. And people do use Zoom like this, or even Google Hangouts as a mastermind or a Skype to just connect with other people on a regular basis and discuss things like pricing, or, should you switch to mirrorless, or whatever it may be, in getting over on my marketing channel. I'm kind of like you. The thing is with YouTube, they say focus. And I've had a hard time growing the marketing and social media channel. I did a video a day for a year.
Right.
And it's hard to grow. It grows, but the problem is one day you're talking SEO and the next day you're talking Facebook. So the people who subscribe for Facebook you know,
Yeah,
are
they're
not
like, I don't
interested.
want
So
to buy
you,
SEO.
yeah, right. So that's why I decided to do this hyper focus area where I do have some
Right.
clout, which is the pricing, and it seems to be working out. And
Yeah,
so,
see, and that's perfect. See, that's a perfect thing where it's completely opposite. So for me, instead of hyper focus, I've went to doing like with my channel. Okay, so when we were doing digital photography cafe for all those
right,
years, it was
right,
very, news, whatever was, was going on, and we would do a lot of commentary based on it and a lot of our thoughts and interaction between the two parties, him and I, which did okay. But now that I'm doing just what I want
yeah,
with the photo community, bringing people on board into my life and my thoughts, it's grown exponentially. So, which is weird. You wouldn't
yeah,
think that. You would think that you need to just micro,
right.
cosmic,
Well,
bring it down into a head. So for me, that does work for some
yeah,
people. Like for me, it ended up being the opposite. I'm just about hitting like 5,000 people
yeah,
now
yeah,
in less than a year, whereas it took us to get a third of that like 5 years. So,
right,
which is a major disparity between the two. So, and
right.
we talk similar type of things, how-tos, tips, tricks, commentary, all this stuff, news. But that's what I found. And just like you said, you did what, a video a day,
Yeah, yeah.
and were you able to pull numbers? Was it, or a lot of interaction? Was it a lot of
No,
subscribes, or
no.
no?
I mean, a year of daily uploads, I
Right.
ended up with 600 subscribers.
Wow. Right. So that's
Yeah,
odd.
yeah, exactly. I mean, my goal was 1,000,
Right.
and I didn't make it. And I say, and I knew why, and I knew the scenario. I mean, I understood, and that's why after the year, I said, okay, stop doing the. But like you, I want my channel to do whatever the heck I want, and I just
Right.
don't. If I wanted to grow it, I mean, really grow it, based on my statistics and based on what I would have to do, I would be talking Facebook every single day.
Really.
And I could grow that channel at the rate I really want because it does work. My best videos are, in the thousands of views, tens of thousands of views are all Facebook, and I gain
Facebook.
subscribers. But I
Hmm.
couldn't do that every day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I guess,
I'm
once again, as we always say, there's a means to an end.
yeah,
Is the YouTube means to an end? Whereas, let's say you want to become a YouTuber and famous and make money on ad revenue, or is it a way to put your product out there and just use it
right.
as product placement, or is it a place that you just want to just enjoy yourself,
Right.
and do whatever you want to do? So for me, it's a little bit of just me enjoying myself, and then on the side put the product placement in there just so it's there, and if someone
Sure.
sees it, fantastic. If they don't, you know what, they're going to find my product on Amazon or B&H Photo, or they're going to find it on wherever. They're going to find
Right.
it anyways. But it's just for me a way to have that outlet, that
Right.
back and forth. And I absolutely love that. Like, I love these
Yeah.
conversations. I
Yeah.
love the totality of being a content creator. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's not like I do it, I get up, I'm like, okay, so what am I going to talk about? I got to do this. I don't even do that. I really
Yeah.
don't. A lot of people, they'll have, detailed calendars of what they're going to talk about for the next 3 or 4 weeks. I don't do that,
Right.
because a lot of times I might be on a Korean website translating to English to find out what's coming out new, you know what I mean? And then I'll just talk to, the people about it, and they like that.
Right. Right.
So,
It's
I
fun.
look at it as being the guy that has the pulse on the industry,
Yeah.
and then I just kind of spew that out. And if you like it, good, or,
No,
so.
absolutely. Absolutely. You have your thing, and that works out really well. I mean, and it has been working. To have 5,000 in less than a year is really, really solid. And that you should, figure, if you keep at this pace, I can see a year from now you're 35, 50,000. And,
Yeah.
at that point, you're really developing something good.
Yeah, that's when I moved from the tomato to the lettuce, and I could
Yeah.
start. They're gonna give me the bump up, But yeah, YouTube is a hard thing. I
Yeah, it
mean,
is. But I think it's worth it. It really is. I
yeah, and
mean,
they've changed their method of placement. Let's call it SEO.
Yeah.
So many times that there's so many people that are just chasing the buck.
Yeah.
And there has been a lot. I just had someone on my channel just say, where did all the YouTube guys go? Because he follows a lot of YouTube people, and they just all fell off.
Yeah.
Literally, people are not even putting content out there anymore,
Right.
because they're seeing where they saw, $2 a day or $10 a day. They're seeing, 25 cents a day. And they're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Even recently, if you have under 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 hours of watch time, you're not in the partner program. But that, I think that's going to be a healthy thing. Think of all of the channels out there under 1,000 and just that now revenue is now being put back onto the, so, I know I'll get over 1,000, that's not even a question. I mean, it is a growing channel. It's just not growing at the pace I thought it would grow.
Right.
I get new subscribers every day, pretty much. So that's not
I can appreciate them weeding out.
Yeah.
There's just, so many cat videos that just one cannot watch, in a lifetime. There's just so much of that, right? So by weeding it out and possibly putting your channel that's actually producing quality content every day or every week for someone to watch, that makes sense to me. So I'm not that, I guess if I was the guy that was making a ton of money on YouTube, I'd probably be upset about it, guys. I'd probably be really upset. But for me, that I'm not, I really don't care as much. I'm just going to keep doing what I do. Hopefully, like you said, it grows.
Yep.
And that's really it. I'm not going to stop based on their algorithms or me chasing my tail.
The money, people who do YouTube right, I mean, the money that YouTube splits with you is just a fraction of what you make on, for me, I'll give you my end game. My end game is to do what I've done before, the books and speaking. But I took the digital marketing mainstream. And I took the marketing side mainstream. So the other channel is mainstream. It's not for photographers specifically, where the pricing channel is. But I just want to get more mainstream with my speaking and with my books. And so that's why I want to go there. And I know and when I started, I said, this is a 4 to 5 year project. I'm not going to be where I want to be for at least 4 or 5 years, where it really is meaningful, especially with such a broad channel. It's going to be, it's like that slow, wide road is that I'm taking. Right. But like I said, the pricing channel, that's the narrow one, and that's growing faster than the other one. So.
Right. Because you have that little niche market that people are coming to you for. Maybe you should have the Facebook channel too on all your tips,
thought of that too.
And just, and have that microcosm out there also. But, the way I look at it, and I think everyone is in the same boat, we have a limited number of resources, and our biggest resource that we all have is time. That's it. We only have so many hours on this planet, right? So that amount of time, you're going to just have to figure out, is it going to be spent flailing around on the rowboat, seeing which way to go, or, taking it down one path or the other path. So that's my thing. That's what I always try to do. At the beginning of the year, take note and say, where is the ship going in the next 12 months?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, do I do another YouTube channel? Well, I have 2 going, and I actually do work. I have real clients, who hire me.
Maybe don't just do this all day.
No, I don't. I mean, honestly, my wife thinks I spend all day playing with my internet friends. I mean, that's a fact. However, I do have real clients for photography and marketing, and they pay the bills. They truly
exactly. And that's the bottom line. That's where you need to be, wherever it's, paying the bills. So as far as, for me, the way I look at this is, and anyone listening, as far as pricing goes, the one thing as far as the takeaway is, do not underprice yourself. And all too often we do that. We undervalue ourselves, and we do not command the price that we are worth. Self-worth is a big thing. And, getting that feeling, that mental of self-worth is not an easy thing, but it is something that you all have to be able to do, because it is absolutely mission critical. And like you were saying, if you keep on chipping away at that price, your perceived value goes down, hence your value goes down and the amount that you could command from that specific client goes down. And now you need to get a new client. The best thing that you could do is keep all the clients that you have, make them happy, because acquisition is 10 times harder than just keeping the current clients that you have. So
Absolutely.
we don't want to do that race to the bottom, right?
No, no, thanks. Hey, Joseph, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us on this channel. And everyone, head on over to JCrisTina's channel. He has some great insights about what's going on in the industry. Definitely worth your time. You have a great day.
I really appreciate it. It's an honor. Thank you so much, Rosh.